I can't. Yeah, I cannot top that. Oh, maybe. There's one that I just thought of, dude. It is so wild and so interesting. It's not about business. Well, kind of is. The guy has a business, but it's round two.
We are
Start it.
officially live.
Yeah,
We were
there you go.
unofficially live for a while.
Yeah, a little bit.
Lewis,
What's going on,
how are you
dude?
doing?
We're doing good.
Yeah,
February 1.
dude.
We are 8% done with the year.
That is scary.
I think that's math. Crazy, dude.
Mm-hmm.
How?
I don't know.
It's February. But we're here. I don't know.
We're here. Whenever I always journal,
here.
and whenever I journal, I write the date on the top of the page, and today was like 02-01-2024, and I was like, whoa. And my first line
There's a couple times.
How is it February? That is the first thing I journaled.
Yeah, there's a couple times when I was writing the date, and I was like, January, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's like, no, it's February. Yeah.
So classic, man.
Wild stuff.
Beauty. Okay, I requested of you, and what we're going to go over today, for anyone who's listening, I requested you to send over 3 to 5, potentially more if we want, 3 to 5 or more podcast episodes that everyone should listen to, specific episodes. And I wanted to go over that today because I thought that could be cool. We could give some people some good direction on some variety of podcasts, and we could make our case for each episode and go from there.
Go from there.
Yes,
All right,
sir.
cool, dude. You want to go first?
Sure, I will go first. I kind of have a wide range of podcasts. They're all I have 5. They're all from different podcasts, and they're not all like necessarily self-development or like business or anything. They're kind of just podcasts that when I think back over the last few years of this podcast, I loved like a lot. So the first one is actually from an NPR podcast, How I Built This.
Ooh.
Guy Raz is the host. He is one of the best interviewers. He's like a journalist at heart, right? So he gives really great interviews from they're not like super organic. They're definitely very structured, but that's not to say that's in a bad way. He does just an exceptional job of pulling stories from people and just putting them into the world in the best possible way, in the best possible order. And the absolute pinnacle of that show, the best podcast episode I think you'll ever listen to, regardless of what you're into. You can be into business, you can be into anything. I can't even think of anything else in business right now. It is How I Built This. I don't know what episode number. They don't have episode numbers. It's released in March 2021. It is with the guy who invented Hinge. I believe his name is Justin.
Oh, yeah. I think I listened to this one.
Justin McLeod. So the episode on How I Built This with Justin McLeod,
All right.
invented Hinge. I'm telling you, it is genuinely one of the best stories you will ever hear in your entire life. It is like the guy who invented the dating app has one of the best love stories you'll ever hear. And it's like it got written by a cast of Hollywood writers, but it's real. It's unbelievable. And you have to listen to it.
All right.
You have to listen to it. I know I'm not doing a good job of selling that short, but like it truly is. If I can think of one episode that's like changed my life, it's that episode.
Really? I think I listened to this. I'm gonna have to go re-listen to it.
What?
But I think it was when it came out, and he name it like from like a door hinge or whatever. Isn't that why he named it Hinge?
Yeah. No, he said something really stupid. Like it wasn't even in a metaphorical way. It's not like a thing that connects two things. He was like, no, I just saw a door hinge.
Something random. Yeah.
I'm like, no. Oh no, he said in and out. He's like, a door hinge is the thing that allows people to go in and out of a room. And that's what I wanted my app to be like or whatever. I don't know.
Interesting.
Really weird.
Okay. Did he work at any other company like Hinge before? Or was he what was the background of him?
You know what? It's actually, so another thing I realized with a lot of these episodes is I need to go back and listen to a lot of them because I remember them impacting me a lot. I don't remember the specific details, but I do remember him being like a pretty accomplished guy. He was like, let's see, I'm actually on his LinkedIn. Maybe I'll send him a request. Funny enough, he doesn't have anything, but he was at Harvard. Like he was at his Harvard MBA when he invented it, like he was
okay.
Doing well. So, I don't know exactly what he was doing, but doing well.
Good deal. Yeah, that's probably the first podcast that I really like loved. Was yeah, NPR with Guy Raz. Like, because from what I remember too, it's like even like the pauses like in the music and
Yes,
the way
yes.
that it's like intertwined, and it's not like a linear conversation. Like they'll come back to like different parts of the story, and it's just really well produced and thought through, and the whole thing is it's really cool. It's like it kind of stands on its own, like, and it's how they create it or how he creates it.
Yeah, I feel like it is a very big mix of like a guy who's been in traditional media for a while that has then brought a lot of those skills from journalism, broadcasting, whatever, to this new medium. And
Mm-hmm.
it works perfectly versus like a guy like
Mm-hmm.
whatever, let's say Tim Ferriss, who doesn't necessarily isn't a trained journalist or whatever broadcaster, who just is really good at conducting research and interviews. Like Guy has his own thing too. Anyways, I love this. I love the show. It's great. And if you're into business, also like it's just cool hearing these guys start and these girls like start businesses, like these
Yeah,
huge companies. You know?
yeah, for sure. Mate. Like for some of the episodes too, like they're not just a good reminder. Like they didn't start, at least some of them, from anywhere exceptional. Like they were just, and it wasn't some well thought out thing. A lot of times it's just like, all right, we're just gonna. I think I've listened to a couple of them. Like the Patagonia one's
Mm-hmm.
wild. I think he was literally, where are the Patagonia Mountains? I think they're in like South America. And he's literally like surfing. He was like surfing or doing something in the water. He's like, yeah, all right. I'm just gonna like start this company or whatever. And I think he was like a mountain climber or something and made it just for like that specific problem. And ended up, doing pretty well. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just started from like humbling beginnings, and one thing leads to another.
Yeah, man. All right, let's hear it. What's one off your list?
Well, now that I think about it, uh, it's a it's a
Changing it
different one
up,
because
eh?
I'm almost gonna like switch it up, but I will probably
No.
start.
Go with whatever it was in your list. I don't. I'm curious. Or add them. I don't care.
Um, yeah, which one do I want to start with? I should have it up right here. It is. I need to go back and listen to it as well, but it's one moment. Episode 284 of Tim Ferriss. It's the answers to my favorite questions, and it's
Okay.
he answers the questions from I think it's from Tribe of Mentors. Like, but he answers it to like for himself.
Dude, no
It's
way. I
awesome.
have never heard this.
Oh, it's so cool. It's
What?
really good. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, the
Okay, so
bio
I
is
have
like,
listened to it, it says, but I guess it was so
okay.
long ago. This is going to be like brand new for me.
Yeah, it
Sorry,
came out
continue.
like 2017. Yeah, this is an unusual episode. Instead of the typical interview format where I ask other people questions, I did what thousands of you have requested. I have answered the 11 questions that are the foundation of Tribe of Mentors, and add in a few bonus answers. From beliefs that have changed
That is,
my life to how I cope with feelings of overwhelm, I go into depth on all of my answers. Yeah, it's really good.
that's so good. Yeah, of
Yep,
course. Tim is the goat. That's the thing too, is
that's
he
me.
actually, who did I see him? I saw a podcaster Chris Williamson was on the Iced Coffee Hour, and it was very strange to see him get interviewed because he's like Tim, where in a sense like I
Yeah,
know him, but I don't
yeah, we've gone
know
over. Yeah,
him. Yeah, so it is interesting. It's cool, and that's what's awesome. I love that Tim did that. He has another episode where I believe he talks about some of his like childhood trauma or whatever
mm.
much later in his thing. But it's cool to just see Tim do these like one single person, the solo podcasts, because he's an interesting dude.
Yeah, you get to know him more. That's cool. Yep, I will say that one.
Love it. Up for a re-listen all these as well. But okay, so my second one is also a Tim
Cool.
Ferriss.
All right, all
Good old
right.
Tim. It's episode 106, and it's with
Oh
Scott
wow.
Adams. And Scott Adams is the guy who
Okay,
invented Dilbert.
Dilbert. Yeah.
And I don't know if you're the same way, but there's something very connected about when you walk and listen to a podcast, like your mind is very good at like, I can, at least mine is, but I've heard other people say this. You can remember exactly where you were when you heard the thing that kind of blew your mind.
Yes.
I could replay that. And there's this one moment in this episode. The whole episode's great. Scott is a super interesting guy in general, but he has this one thing. He's the first guy that ever introduced me to affirmations. I know they're kind of like a wishy-washy thing, but the way he talks about them is like the most compelling thing I've ever heard. And he's so interesting too. He just has a really great way of telling these stories. But I remember I was walking up the street near my house towards like kind of the plaza. I wasn't going to the plaza, but that's just where I was. And I heard it. And I was like, I wasn't taking podcast notes on my phone at the time. So I just kind of like had to remember it. And I was like, whoa, like, and I just couldn't believe how, well, anyways, what a great guest he was. I'd never really heard of him or knew anything about him before. And he kind of just won me over right from the bat. So he's
cool.
Dope.
Yeah, he's very interesting. And especially because there's like a 30-minute video on him explaining his affirmations, and the part that's cool to me especially is like he did them and then he like became like the number one like what is it, comic strip or like what is it, like
cartoon,
cartoon, yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, cartoon. And that's like the big part. Like he used them and then like got the result from it. And I think like when he was explaining it, I mean, it makes sense. Like the odds of becoming that or getting like a strip in the newspapers, like, I don't know, it's probably similar to like getting a Grammy or something like for music. And he's also the kind of person, from what I remember, he's very pragmatic, like scientific kind of, very like try this, like, say it in the mirror 100 times kind of person. And I think he got introduced to it from like some woman that was like in, I don't know, Harvard or some like top tier academic environment or school. And he's like, all right, I think she convinced him by saying like, okay, what's the downside? Like if it doesn't work, you're just in the same place. And if it does, then you'll get success. And that's what he ended up using it. And like, yeah, kind of took off.
Yeah. So. No. And I think the thing that like, whether or not, if anyone's listening, you believe in affirmations or not, like I don't think it really matters if you think they're like going to work. I think the whole thing that this episode made me realize is like, if you just say something, I am going to be the best husband ever, whatever, if that's your goal. Okay. You're not the best husband ever right now, but what's going to happen is there's going to be an opportunity somewhere in your day. Your wife's going to say something that you wouldn't normally have heard or reacted to, or had your eyes open to, or your worldview open to, but now you do because you just said it 5 minutes ago, and now you're gonna go, oh, so you're gonna help her take out the garbage, or whatever, which is going to bring you on the path to becoming the best husband ever. So it's like, it isn't that like you just say it and it happens. It's like, I think these things are always happening to us. It's just kind of where we put our attention. That's kind of how
you see what you aim at, for sure.
Yeah.
It's also, I don't know what tense he said it in. I do think that that's like a very important distinction, like versus like saying I am like an incredible husband versus I am going to be an incredible husband. But I would think like for sure that I am going to be is like the more pragmatic way to do it, because then you're not like lying to yourself if it's like the complete opposite at the time. But yeah, it just opens up your worldview and your mind to all those different opportunities to become that type of person. And it's like the whole Matrix thing. Like you see what you aim at. Like if you think about opportunities, you probably see opportunities. If I say like, look around the room and I say like, where's the color blue? Like you'll see it.
Yeah.
Or you'll try to, it might be like teal, but you're like, it's kind of blue. Right?
I could see the blue in there. I could see the blue.
Yeah. I'm like, where's yellow? And you're like, well, I wasn't really looking for that. Or like brown or whatever. Like you don't see what you're not looking for, which is obvious.
Well, it's like those videos on like Twitter or something where there's like some like really good looking girl doing something. And then there's like the first comment is like, what color was the guy's t-shirt or whatever? Or like, you know what I mean? Like there was like something very obvious and everyone's like, oh, it's like, yeah, you're not looking at it. You're not
looking at it. There's like a famous, I think it was in the, Tools of Titans. I know it was in like 12 Rules, like the gorilla one. Yeah. There's like a famous scientific experiment where they had a a person or like a group of people watch people, I think like pass a ball. Like they were playing basketball. I think they might have been playing basketball or like passing a ball in between themselves. And there's like a group of them. And at the end of it, they're like, "Did you see the gorilla?" And I want to say at least 50% of them said like, "What are you talking about?" And then you rewatch you can look it up, like it's on YouTube. And I think it is. There's a dude, he just like walks right across. Like it's the most obvious thing when you're looking for the gorilla. And when you're not, it's not so obvious, at least to some. So that's funny.
So cool, man. I love it.
Gotta keep your eyes open.
Cool. What's the what other one you got there?
I'd probably go to. I have two Hubermans. I would say the first one would be just the goal setting. I think that one was like really profound. I think it's episode 55, and it's how to set goals. Like, what's the best way to go about that? He just goes, I love Huberman because he just follows the science. You know
what are some key takeaways? Like, what does he say about goals?
Define specific verb actions. So like define specific behaviors or inputs that will lead to the goal. And I think just inherently by doing that, I think you raise your probability of reaching whatever you want to do twofold. Like it doubles your probability just by like it's to me it's like okay, it's a fancy way of saying like make a plan. like just by making and adhering to a plan, you double your probability. Versus like staring at the goal. Right? Like make the work the goal.
Yes.
Like for my half marathon, I'm like, okay, I got like this certain mileage and like even if it's not perfect, it just like raises the odds. Like my goal isn't like I don't even think about like the race that much, like the half marathon. Like I just wake up and I'm like, what do I got to do today? And that works for me.
The race is almost the byproduct of the running.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't like, yeah, it's like duh, but like a lot of times I don't think about it that way, and now that I understand more of the science of like how it works, it's like okay, I'm gonna do that. At least try to. So
yeah, Huberman's dope for that because he, I think you said it, but he's like he takes these things that they may not mean much to someone who just like if you hear like oh set goals like okay go fuck off, but it's like when you can actually see someone present you with data to be like yeah set them because or say these specific things because it's going to actually 2x your performance. Like oh okay that's according to science like that's more convincing.
Yeah, I'm trying to think like how the way to say it, but like he very seldomly is that a word seldomly brings his own opinion into it. He more is like a great what would it be? Like he's a great megaphone for like science. Like he just and he boils it down into like a very clear, understandable way, and just tells you like how the science works. It's like not biased or like the most unbiased way of like that I've heard. Someone try to explain things in like that area of like science and whatnot. But that's really why I appreciate it. And just him too. Like I do. Like he's a sweet dude. Like his story's cool too. He's got a wild story.
Yeah, he's a bit of a bad boy. I love Huberman. I like gained a new level of respect for him after his lift run shoot with Cam Hanes.
Yeah, he's a dog.
He's just a dog.
He's yoked.
I don't know. You just like the guy. He's yoked. He is.
Yeah,
yoked.
and you hear about like I would hear about it before like him talking like I work out, and I'm like thinking like like and some guys like you can see like a Nick Bear or like a Chris Williamson, they'll wear like big shirts and you can still tell like when a guy becomes like to a certain size, you're like okay this dude's like still huge. I can just tell he's wearing a big shirt, but Huberman is like that weight where like he's just I would say under that, but he's still like he's probably 200 pounds. And that same episode, I think that was the first time, like publicly online or whatever, that people saw him. And I think after that, I think he's now posted a couple pictures where he's like in a t-shirt. He's a little bit more public about it. But yeah, dude, he's dope.
His tattoos. Or
yeah,
his
I mean,
both.
yeah, I guess both, but like,
yeah.
Because he's always rocking the long sleeve black shirt.
Yeah. Kind of a uniform. It's like Lex Friedman with the suit. It's kind of cool. I like it.
No, yeah, for sure. And I understand like the viewpoint, especially from like Huberman. He's like, I just want to talk about, like, I want it to be about the science. I don't want it to be about me.
Dude.
I think that's why, from my understanding. Yeah.
No, and that's solid. And we're going off on a tangent here, but in Matthew Dick's book, Storyworthy, which I read recently, and I don't know if you're going to remember this, but he specifically says, I do not wear anything but black t-shirts on stage because I don't want anything to pull the audience out of the story. One time I wore a Star Wars shirt on stage. The first thing the guy said is, oh, nice Star Wars shirt. And he goes, well, the story's ruined because you're now focusing on my Star Wars shirt. Wow. I don't want you to know I'm here. I don't want you to know you're in a room. I want you to be with me in Connecticut in 1981 when I was, you know what I mean? So Huberman, same thing there.
Wow. Rogan does the same thing. You heard about him? Yeah, he wears...
I see him wearing shit all the time. What do you mean?
On stage with his stand-up. He wears long sleeve, and they're like, if you look at them, they're like loose. I think that's why he said it. He's like, I want to feel loose. Like, I want to feel like free. And they're like way longer than like a normal... They might be like a size up that he would wear with like a suit. Like, they go down to like half over his hand. And it's like a black shirt. I think from like most times... Maybe it's different now, but it was the same kind of idea. He's like, I want it to be about like the stand up. I think it's funny how some of these guys, they all do similar things.
Yeah, hey, whatever works. Hey, I also have a Huberman one. I'm just gonna get out of the way because it might be overlap. Hope it's not.
All right.
Huberman, episode 86.
Which one's this?
Is that overlap? The alcohol episode.
No.
No?
I don't think I've listened to this one.
So, okay. Well, I mean, you don't drink much anyways, so it doesn't, not that this doesn't matter, but it's crazy. Mm-hmm. So this is episode 86, what alcohol does to your brain, body, and health. And I heard about this episode for a while, and I kind of delayed it because right now I'm on a break from drinking, like 3 months plus into this maybe. And I kind of delayed it for a while because like I always knew like, oh, like I can't, like I knew if I heard it I'd really want to quit, and like there was just some things in my life where I'm like, hey, I'm going to a trip here, I don't want to, I didn't want to have a bad mentality about it. Anyways, where I'm going with this, it's a really great episode. I think everyone should listen to it regardless if you want to quit drinking or not. It is insane. I know everyone knows that drinking is bad for you. I know everyone knows. Hearing it for an hour affects every single thing in your body is insane. Also, he talks about two things that blew my mind. One was like, he defines chronic drinking. Chronic drinking.
It's like
you
6
think about
drinks.
Chronic drinking, right? You're like, oh, that guy must drink every night and must have 20 beers a night. Must drink a whole, 2-6 a night. 7 drinks a week.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's 1 a day. Doesn't matter if it's 7 in one day. Doesn't matter if it's 2 one day, 3 the next. 7 drinks a week. Dude, I used to drink 7 drinks a week. Probably mostly every week. Easy. Because it would just be 1 night or 2 nights, right?
Yeah. And you're like,
that's chronic.
Because that makes sense. I mean, at least some people. Yeah.
And he says, and I'm going to get this probably wrong at some point, so just go and watch the episode or go and listen to the episode. But it's something like your brain will literally now have to rewire itself. If you drink 7 drinks, your brain will now take somewhere between 3 to 6 months to get back to its baseline.
Say it again.
What? Dude,
say it again.
So that's why I'm pretty sure this is why he defined the chronic drinking of 7 drinks, because then he goes on to say that like prolonged exposure, I don't know if it's 1 time 7 drinks or prolonged exposure, regardless. It's not like you need to be an alcoholic. It will take 3 to 6 months for your brain to literally remap and get back to your baseline.
3 to 6 months?
Dude, 3 to 6 months. How crazy is that? And I
off of how much? Off a wink or a week?
See, this is where it's going to get all jumbled up.
Yeah.
What I took from this is that if you're mid-20s and you're drinking any casual amount of beer, for the most part, if you're kind of doing the typical thing that people do in their 20s, you fall into this category. Let me just tell you right now. If you've been drinking since university and you're continuing, you still drink, you're in this category. Let's just say that.
Damn.
I don't know the exact numbers. 3 to 6 months. Like, I was actually shook. And I was concerned because I'm thinking, like, I've been doing this for 10 years. 10 years already.
Yeah, it just adds up.
Dude.
Adds up.
Anyways, everyone should listen to it. I think it's just like a good reminder. It, once again, you don't have to quit or anything. I'm not being this guy. Just, I think it's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah, it's great. It's great to know.
I didn't realize.
Either way, useful to have in the toolkit. Good deal. Okay.
Cool.
Good deal. I was gonna do. Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna do Huberman again, but I will come back.
We'll get him out of the way. We'll get him out of the way. We'll have a Huberman section. This episode is sponsored by Huberman.
Yeah, come on. AG1 and Huberman. It would. I don't know what the number is. I should know this because there's a couple that he went on. But it's the one with Andy Galpin.
Okay.
And it's like all things muscles.
Like this. We're getting a bit of health mix in here. I like this.
Oh yeah. It's 4 hours and 39 minutes. I think this is the one. It would be useful to go and listen to like all the different ones that he went on. I think he was like in the top 10. I think a couple of his episodes were in the top 10 of like this past year on Huberman. Yeah, like 4 million views, and there's 1.2 million on the other one. But I think it's the optimal protocols to build strength and grow muscles. I think it's that one. It's awesome. Like he's very similar to Huberman, Andy, on his ability to clearly describe how things work. I don't know how to boil it down any simpler than that. And I have learned, and I will define learning as like changing my behavior from him. Like probably, I don't know, like it's probably near the top when I think about it, because it's like it's working out, and like especially when it comes to like hypertrophy and like how I understand how it works and what you can do to grow your muscles and like how I train is just it's like way simpler, at least like on the hypertrophy side. And yeah, he's great. He explains how it all works. Muscles. Cool.
I love it. And is he I don't even know what he like. Is he big into working out specifically, or what is his like? He's got like his own. Because he's a doctor or he's like a scientist first, right?
Yeah, he's like his Instagram bio is like something wild. It's like, let me see. It's like something I've never heard of. I'm like, what the heck is this? He's a PhD. He's a professor of kinesiology at California State University, Fullerton, and an expert in the science and application of methods to. Why are you cutting me off? Google. It's like it's like energist or something.
Okay.
He just knows like everything about muscles. More than that, but like especially that. Yeah.
And so if I what benefit does someone have knowing about muscles? Like why should someone care about knowing
great
about
questions.
Muscles?
Well, I would say for that I would listen to Peter, I don't know how you say his last name, Attia or Attia?
Attia.
I would listen to like more on him for like the why behind it. I'm sure Andy has said something really important on the why. He actually just posted a really interesting Instagram post on VO2 max, which isn't muscle building, but like the effects of it. There's some published paper that just came out, or I don't know how recent it is, but it's a paper. And like what activities you do and how they affect like your VO2 max is like, I forget what the description of it is, but it's like high intensity cardio, I think, from like the simplest way to look at it. But to swing back to the why from like Peter, I just know that that's like one of the best longevity markers, or like, people that are older, it just becomes so much more important to retain muscle. I mean, building it just becomes like way harder when you age. But there's like, here's probably the simplest way to look at it. Like, there's health span and there's lifespan. And as a disclaimer, I don't know anything. I just listen to these guys. But there's health span and there's lifespan. Lifespan is how long you live, right? But health span is like, how healthy are you? And some people probably live, they can live till like they're 100, but how long are you healthy? Like, how long can you like drive a car and get up from like your bed, or like get up from the chair, or like, pick up something from the ground, or like pick up something like, from the top shelf. And muscles help with that, especially with a fall. Like, the data on that is like really scary for people that I don't know what the exact numbers are, but like when you get older and you fall, it can get like really bad. It can get really bad.
Was the episode then, because I'm trying to, I think we talked about it in the past, but I can't remember. Is it just specifically drilling into like the actual physiology of muscles, or is it more like specific techniques you can use to help grow or whatever, or like, you know what I'm saying?
Are you talking about Andy?
Just like Andy's episode, sorry.
Yeah, it's more on like, from what I remember, like they talk about a lot, and I don't honestly think I listened to the whole thing. It's like I listened to like bits and pieces of it, because it's like 4 hours and 39 minutes.
Yeah.
But the parts that I took away were the tactics on how to grow.
Nice. Okay, so he does cover that.
Yeah, talks about strength too, but yeah, especially for like if you want to grow your muscles and you're like, I don't know what to do, listen to him.
I think I probably need that. I feel like I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
Need some help growing these guys.
There you go.
Need some fertilizer.
Andy's your guy. Yeah. Protein.
I just bought new protein, and I had chocolate. I went with vanilla this time, and I'm regretting it. So,
well,
that's where we're at.
I will say vanilla is a better base, I think. Like, if you want to make like a shake, like anything, like if you want to make a shake,
like just chocolate.
If you want to, yeah, I mean, for taste wise, yeah, for sure. Like, I think chocolate's better.
True.
But if you're like a shake guy,
how would you build my vanilla shake? I am a shake guy.
I mean, whatever you want to do, dude. I mean, you want to do like peanut butter, get some like strawberries, blueberries, whatever fruit you want to do.
Listen, it was tasty. I'm not gonna lie. I just think maybe I just got used to chocolate.
Like, this is why. Now I'm thinking about, like, if you want to do any like fruits, like fruit protein shake, the fruit flavor, I think you will actually taste it with the vanilla. With chocolate, it's like you're eating like a chocolate strawberry shake.
Good point. It does feel a little bit more desserty too. It's like,
yeah,
it's almost like a dessert. Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's a good point. Actually, I'll have to reframe my vanilla hate.
I will say this though, it's not shake. My brother has been doing, dude, I don't know how it tastes so good, but it does. If you look up cottage cheese protein, like cookie dough, it's unreal.
Okay.
I don't know what recipe he uses.
Oh, this is the thing like Sahil always eats. There's that guy on Instagram.
Yeah, because he does like the Ninja Creamy or whatever.
Yeah.
He makes ice cream. But dude, this tastes like, it's not the exact same thing. It tastes like cookie dough.
Oh, man. God.
And it's cottage cheese.
Wow. So a lot of protein.
Yeah, there's the one recipe I saw, the recipe had protein powder in it. I don't know if my brother uses it. But it's great.
Love it.
Either way, it's a great alternative.
Beauty. Gotta try that out. I gotta try a lot of protein recipes out. I'm super simple. I just shake it up most of the time.
Just make sludge.
No, I use a blender. I actually do make like a decent little shake most days. At the very least, a banana, the powder, peanut butter, and some ice and some water. At the very least, so it's okay.
There you go.
Okay, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
I have one. I've mentioned this before, so I'll get it out of the way. But honestly, one of the best episodes of podcast episodes ever. It's just a really good conversation between two men. I'll say that word, men.
Oh, I know what you're
Real
talking
ones. John Bernthal's podcast with Shia LaBeouf.
Oh,
This
okay.
podcast
Yeah.
is so good. What podcast do you think I was going to say?
Patrick McDavid, Tom Bilyeu. I don't know why.
Oh, no, I don't even think I've seen that.
Oh, never mind.
PBD's great. I don't even think he made my list, but regardless, Real Ones with John Bernthal. That's the podcast. Shia LaBeouf's the guest.
Cool.
Man,
cool.
I think I've talked about it before. I'll just quickly re-explain it, but yeah, Shia was in like a bad spot from like a publicity point of view, but also just like life. Like I think there was allegations, and I'm not sure. I think they might have been true of him, like kind of either verbally or physically, like kind of abusing his girlfriend, and he was alcoholic and all these sorts of things. Mm-hmm. Basically, everyone was telling John, like, don't have him on. Like, that's such a bad move. And John and him were friends because they did the movie Fury together. And John had basically kind of written him off for a while, but then eventually he's like, dude, you got to come on. We got to chat this out. And it was like the first time they talked in years after being like best friends. And Shia, like, I've never seen a guy, like a lot of the time when people do things bad, they like kind of will say like, yeah, I did that. But right?
Yeah.
Dude, Shia just lays it out. He actually just owns up to everything. And like, whether like it's not, none of the stuff he did is good, but man, anyways, it's a great episode. Like I was like emotional watching it for a few times or listening through to it. It was such a good conversation. And whether, I don't know what you can get from it besides just like a little forgiveness or whatever, but it's A1 podcasting in my opinion.
All right. Good deal.
Yeah, man.
There you go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right. What do you got?
There's a lot I could say.
Oh, really?
All
right, you can give a couple. I have one left, so.
One that was really good that I watched part of, I think it was yesterday, is Chris Williamson, Shaan Puri.
Dude, nice. I didn't even think about this one. That is such a good episode. Yes.
It's so great.
So you know what? Sorry, not to interrupt. My friend was like, I'm going on a run. I want a podcast. I'm like, okay, have you listened to Chris Williamson, Modern Wisdom? He's like, no. I'm like, okay, listen to him. He's like, what episode? I'm like, Shaan Puri. I'm like, go listen to Shaan Puri's. And he comes back, he's like, that was so sick. I'm like, yeah. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, it's sweet. They talk about like maybe it's like less than 10 topics, I would say, but the one that was like I'll have to go listen to it again, but it's like learning and like what mistake, like did you learn the right thing from this quote failure, right? Shaan's talking about like people a lot of times will be like, yeah, I learned so much, and then you're like, what'd you learn? And then you're like, right? And like that, and then also, did you learn the right lesson? Like, because you can learn something, but it may not be the right thing that you pick up from it. So that was great. And then the other big point that I took away was like enthusiasm is like, I think 25 IQ points or something like that. They talked about storytelling in there too. But yeah, it's a great episode.
Dude, so good. Shaan's so much fun.
All above. And he's got the ball.
The what?
He sometimes in some of the episodes in My First Million, he has like this ball. Like I don't know. He'll have like a light bulb that floats, and then he'll have like this ball that like he tosses around. And it's like if you get to know Shaan, it's like very. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I think it's just.
So I listened to the episode, so I didn't see it for him on that one. Nice, man. I think there's on the storytelling front, there was that one thing I remember where he was like at a corporate retreat, and everyone kind of had to tell a story, and so everyone's picking like these big like, yeah. So then we signed the $1 million check and whatever. Everyone's picking the most grandiose thing they could think of in their life, and Shaan's like, no, I'm going for tiny, as Shaan does, because that's a good story. Doesn't mean it's crazy. It just means it's a good story. And so he says, he told a story about when he was in college and his mom came to visit him, and the story about when he first moved out of his house and his mom came over and he was cooking dinner for her that night, and he set the stakes perfectly. like
Yeah, I
how
remember this.
big of a deal this was. Like, so big. Of course, Shaan, great storyteller. I love that.
He is. He makes it look so easy. The way he talks, he'll just like spit something. Like the one episode of My First Million, he's like, "Yo, I'm like 6-pack, like 2% milk or something like like so." Sam's like, "Did you just think of that?" He's like, "Yeah, dude. I just woke up. It's coming off the line." What? Yeah.
Yeah, Shia. He's a guy I would like genuinely love to meet. I'd love to meet a lot of guys, but he's like one of those guys you don't think about wanting to meet, but then you're like, I would really like to meet him actually.
Yeah, for sure. Same boat.
Sounds cool.
Yeah.
Love it.
Good deal.
All right, I'll share my last one, and then we can you can kind of just stuff in any extra ones.
Okay.
However many you have left. You can just bang them out or talk about them at length. This one is from none other than Joe Rogan.
All right.
But this podcast, like, I don't want to say this like started my self-development journey, but this would have been like very early. And this podcast actually introduced me to Tim Ferriss because Tim also interviewed this guy after Joe did. And I remember like I was down here and watching it on my TV, and I was watching the Joe one, interview this guy. And then like after the interview, like the end screen came up and like Tim's face was there. And like I'd always seen Tim's face, his podcast and stuff, but if you look at his podcast thing, like objectively as a guy who is, imagine you haven't listened to it all, you're kind of like, who's this guy? Like, just a random guy, right? Anyways, I'll get to the chase. Joe Rogan, episode 1309. He interviews Naval Ravikant.
Wow, this is such a God.
It is one of the best podcasts ever. It's so good.
It is.
I was reminded today, I haven't listened to that podcast since I listened to it. And it was one of the best podcasts I ever listened to because it actually, I can genuinely say, changed my life. It is like, it's insane. It sparked everything in a lot of ways. So, Jerry 1309. Naval Ravikant. That is podcast. That's the one on my list. The mic drop.
I cannot top that. That's
no,
tough.
Of course you can.
Oh, maybe. There's a couple wild ones.
No,
there's one that I just thought of.
This isn't the competition.
There's one that I just thought of. Dude, it is so wild and so interesting. It's not about business. Well, kind of is. The guy has a business, but it's Paul Rosalie on Lex Friedman. Do you know this guy?
No, I've never heard that one.
No? Dude, it is wild. It is wild.
Oh, Rosalie.
I think that's how you say this guy's name. So yeah, look
on Lex, not Joe, because he's on Joe too.
On Lex Friedman. The Lex Friedman is I like that one more.
All right.
I think I heard about it. That's interesting that you say that. I don't know which one I listened to first, the Joe or the Lex. But the Lex one just is like, because Lex will just sit there. Like, he'll just ask the most basic question that everyone wants to know. And he'll just let the guy talk. And, yeah, this guy, I don't know how long he's been down there. He lives in, like, the Amazon rainforest. And this dude not only has, like, one of the craziest life stories, like, continuing adventures that he's on, like, up until this, like, now. But he is also a brilliant, I think, like communicator. Like the way, like his storytelling ability, dude. It like we're talking about, like, what's his name, Matthew Dix, the story worthy guy. It's up there. Like this guy would get a grand slam, I think.
Wow.
Or whatever the award is. Yeah. Unreal.
Just wrestling anacondas in a lot of these photos. Like that's pretty pimp.
Yeah, dude. These stories, like the floating.
God, huge.
Oh yeah, floating grass in the Amazon, like all it talks about like medicine and like you get a cut and you get a bot fly, like fucking wild ass shit that's growing down there. The tribes that are down there, like the uncontacted tribes, dude. Like there's people that are down there that are like, we don't know what they do, who they are, like wild, crazy shit, right?
He lives in the Amazon.
He lives in the Amazon. Like it's close to like I don't know like where but like close to civilization, or like he has resources to like.
He dips in and out, like.
Yeah, there's this treehouse that they built, dude. It is unbelievable. If you look up Paul Rosalie treehouse, it actually looks like something in like Jumanji or something. Like it's this treehouse that floats on top of. Yeah. Yeah.
This looks fake.
It looks fake. Yeah. I also didn't realize that. So apparently, like 90, I don't know what percentage of life lives like above the ground in the Amazon.
What do you mean?
So like you're in the Amazon rainforest and you're like, where's like I would think like, okay, there's gonna be like everything, like there's gonna be like, you know, shit running around on like the ground floor, and like you're gonna see a bunch of shit and bugs and like whatnot. You don't. Like all the life is up in the canopy. Like all the birds and the monkeys and the snakes and like everything lives up there. And he talks about like when you're in the treehouse and you wake up and it's like in the morning, dude. It is like a I don't know, bullhorn, like megaphone, just all out thunderstorm of life that's going on up there with all the birds and like all the life that's up there. And the majority of the life like lives above, I don't know, what is it, the canopy? Right?
That is so cool.
Fuck. It is awesome.
I gotta listen to this now. I think that is for sure more interesting than Naval. I will say that.
It's different. It's different. Yeah.
It is different. But that's just a cool guy who's done some cool shit and tells some cool stories. And Lex is there like, what's the meaning of life?
And this guy, he'll try to tell you. Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, oh, no, I found it. It's over
I found it. It's just on there.
So it's in the spots right here. I found it.
Wild shit. Like you can have a cut and like you go up and like the trees down there, like they're hundreds of like, I don't know, millions of years old, like just the evolution of it. And I remember him talking about like, he's like, Neosporin? Like you guys, we talk about Neosporin. He's like, dude, this shit don't work. Like you have like this tree sap or whatever. Like you get it from like a flower or something. I don't know. You like put it on anything. It just disappears. Like whatever you got, like a big cut, it's gone. Gone. Jaguars?
I guess a lot of that stuff.
This is the last point.
Jaguars, what?
You'll never see them. So I think that's what, and I forget too. Like there's like puma, mountain lion. Like that's the same animal. Like Joe's talked about that. Like so, there's like jaguar. I forget like which big cat it is, or leopard or jaguar. I forget which one it is. I think he's been down. I don't know how long he's been down there. Like maybe a decade by now. But he's only seen him like a handful of times. He tells a story about one where like it came up and like they won't attack you. Like, they don't really attack humans. I think his theory was that most of the animals that they will attack are like you think about like a dog where like the neck is like a jaguar could jump down on the neck, right? And humans are like, we stand up this way. So it's like this weird like they don't think of us. Like they don't want to eat us. I think that was like his theory, like because they can't attack us as easily. But their ability to hide. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
But their ability to hide.
We were looking for your cat the other day. Couldn't find it.
Oh yeah, we were. Stupid cat, my house cat.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, man, they're the same DNA somewhere in there.
That is unbelievable to think of how. Like a little 8-pound cat is like related to this huge. Yeah. It's like 200 pounds. Just, weapon.
What's up, cousin?
What's up, hey, buddy?
What's up, cousin?
There you go. Yep. Go. There you go. Paul Rosalie.
Love it. Boom. All right, people. That is, I think 10, maybe 11 podcasts you should go and listen to. That should fill you up for the. You know what's crazy too is I don't think a lot of people like you listen. Ask people like, oh, what's some people might listen to a few podcasts a year. You know?
Yeah, you think? What's the average? Yeah,
check it out.
How many did we go over?
10.
That's good.
We went over 10. I went over 5. I think you went over 5. I think that's 10, maybe 11. Maybe you went over
5.
6.
When did I go? Shaan Puri, 2 Andrew Hubermans, Tim Ferriss, and Paul Rosen.
Beauty. 10 podcasts.
Yeah, cool. I think that's good. That's
a good amount of podcasts for people.
That's a good start. It's a good start.
Listen, I think that's a great start. And also, like, what you're going to find with this list, besides the Huberman and the Tim, a lot of, like, some diversity there. And so you're going to then find out, do you like Tim? Do you like Huberman?
Yes, that's a good point.
Joe?
That's a good point.
Not that I'm introducing anyone to Joe Rogan, but, who knows?
Yeah. Do you know Joe Rogan?
Yeah. And one more thing before we sign off, dude. My parents were like, they pulled a big bag of electronics out of just like old wires and stuff from this drawer and put it on my counter. They're like, oh, do you want any of that stuff? I'm like, nah, like throw it out. It's old. Right? Like, I don't know any of it. They're like, just take a look. I'm like, okay. So I go in and I see this thing.
No.
This is the original iPod.
That's the original.
Dude,
that thing's probably worth.
I don't know.
Money.
I plug it in. I plug it in, and it works. And then I plug in my headphones. And I'm listening to Wu-Tang Clan on this thing. It still works. Blows my mind. For anyone not looking, this is an iPod. I don't even know what this is.
Steve did it right.
Dude, Steve did it right. And also, I was thinking a bit about this. So I was listening to my Wu-Tang Clan. Listen to my Wu-Tang Clan on my iPod here. My brother's iPod, actually. And I was thinking, like, it's actually quite nice. And I almost wish that this still existed. To not have to think about the phone, dude. Just you and the music, man.
I mean, they still make iPods, don't they?
No, man.
But yeah, you and the music.
Done.
God, trademark that.
Dude, you
Apple should trademark
these things. These things are great, phones, but
they are, but they're overwhelming.
Overwhelming. There's something so beautiful about just coming in here, scrolling through. Oh, yeah, I want to listen to that one. Scroll through, boom.
Yeah.
Put it in the pocket. That's all you got. Just this.
Yeah, I've heard from I think Chris Williamson has 3 phones. I think Peter T has 2 phones. I think this might become a more prevalent thing too as time goes on. People have them there's they make them dumb phones. I think they're called light phone. I forget what they're called, but yeah, that's a great point.
George Mack, I would love 2 phones. I just can't afford 2 phone plans.
Yeah, that's the
George
thing.
Mack has a crack phone and a kale phone, or a cocaine phone and a kale phone. And so he's on the cocaine phone. He's got TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook,
Such a
Twitter.
good way to look at it.
That's
an interesting way.
His kale phone, that's his everyday
Makes sense.
phone. He's got nothing. Just
well, that's interesting how he does it like that. If anything, I would think you just have music, and I don't know what you could put on.
Sorry, I don't mean nothing. I just mean he doesn't have any of the junk food apps. He's got his music.
Yeah.
He's got Slack or whatever,
Yeah, just a couple items. Yeah.
Yeah.
Smart,
man.
Run you $1,500 to get you some kale.
One day we will earn enough off this podcast to get ourselves a kale phone, and we can be junkies on our other phone. Cool.
We'll get there.
All right, dude. 10 episodes for people to listen to after they finish listening to this one. Go to all those. Those are almost as good as this one. And
cool.
That is all.
Good deal. This is episode what?
Episode 7.
All right, cool.
Although
good deal.
Episode 45 for all I know.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Till next week, we'll be 10% in the year. 10% a year.
10%. We're gonna be 10% next week, and yeah, man, time just keeps going on, and you gotta get to work, get some stuff going,
get some stuff done.
Beautiful.
All right, cool.
All right, audience.
Till next week.
For watching, Lewis.
Cool. Good deal.
Thanks for being here.
As always.
All right, everyone.
See ya.
Have a good one.